All right, I started this yesterday. This is part 2 of how Russia-Ukraine conflict affects money. Hear me out. The idea is simple. Every day, Monday through Friday, I go live for about 10 minutes. I want to help you to look good and feel good and smell good. In the process, I reveal the hidden secrets of the universe at no extra charge. You're welcome. Hidden Secrets Revealed Live is a production of Safe New Media, unconventional, diversified, global digital media company devoted to the practice, administration, and dissemination of the ideologies of its founder, yours truly. It is not a cult. My friends are watching behind the scenes right now, exclusive behind the scenes on Instagram. So there's exclusive footage here behind the scenes on Instagram. Hello, my friends behind the scenes on Instagram, and hello, everybody else out there. I invite you to let's be friends on Twitter. Come on, let's be friends on Twitter. Come on. Okay, so you're watching Hidden Secrets Revealed Live, and I invite you to join our group on Telegram. Right now, it's new. It's a new thing. It's happening, and we can convene there or on Twitter. Either way, I'm glad you're watching. Check out my new record, Surplus. There's a link in the description if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. If you're watching on LinkedIn, I help businesses to get more customers, double your ideal customers in half the time. If that's important to you, then you know what to do. Click that link in the description. We can't help everybody, but talk to me and let me know what you're working on. Appreciate you guys. All right, so let's get to it. I got a lot to cover. I usually try to go just for 10 minutes. But there's a lot of information here. Okay, so once again, my objective on Russia's attack on the Ukraine and how it affects the world economy is not to predict the outcome or pretend to be an expert on geopolitical, macroeconomic events. I'm not an expert on crypto. This is not financial advice. And there's more information that I don't know than what I will ever know, but I'm trying to make sense of the situation. What I'd like to make a case for is that we would be wise to recognize that this is a turning point for the balance of power and possibly the US dollar. It's possible. Yesterday, we discussed inflation is now at 7.9%. 7.9% announced yesterday. As I'm recording this is March 11th, Friday, 2022. Fuel prices are at all-time highs, adjusted for inflation between $5.25 to $6.19 in today's dollars, adjusted for inflation. It's the most they've ever been. The most that you've ever paid for gas at the pump. The US dollar index, though, so I don't know if this happens during wartime every single time or not. Okay, but creditors, exporters, investors that are linked to Russia, they need more liquidities from the market. And that combined with higher risk aversion means financial conditions already tighter than pre-COVID era will keep tightening. And similar factors are leading to dollar appreciation. Right now, the US dollar index 99.13, up 0.62, 0.63% right now. So the dollar is strong compared to other currencies. But let's talk about stagflation of the 1970s. So stagflation is the condition of rising inflation, rising commodity prices, low productivity, um, typically unemployment in the 70s, labor demanding higher wages. That leads to stagflation, and that is tantamount to what we're experiencing now. Okay? Do you disagree with that? Let me know. Leave a comment. Smash that subscribe button. So stagflation. So the consumer price index is how we get this inflation figure. That's 7.9%. It's at right now 7.9%. That comes from the CPI, the measure of inflation most cited in popular discourse. In the 70s, it hit a growth rate of 6% in 1970, then 12% in 1974. Now, Nixon dropped the gold standard in 1971, August 1971, and had the Fed print more money, keep interest rates low, right? So in the mid 70s, when prices spiked to record levels, we had OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. They launched an oil embargo between 1973 and 1974. Now, I'm pointing this out because it parallels what is happening now with Russia. It's similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. That's when inflation finally climbed to almost 15% in early 1980 during OPEC, during the oil embargo, or because of the oil embargo. And now Russia controls a lot of the world's resources, oil included. Only 3% is sent to the U.S., but let's go back to the 1970s. U.S. President Carter appointed Paul Volcker as the chairman of the Federal Reserve, who raised interest rates, which resulted in 2 severe recessions. Okay, so that's a reference point, the 1970s. So yesterday I talked about what sanctions entail for Russia, as well as second-order consequences, like a rise in commodity futures. We're seeing that. Russia is a big exporter of energy and grains and metals for Europe, especially. And the other factor here is the invention of blockchain technology, and with it, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Right? I think that is very significant. That is how our time that we live in is different. Now, China banned Bitcoin. Why did China ban Bitcoin? Control. China introduced the digital digital yuan. And that is their central bank digital currency that they begun to roll out. Now, if you remember, this past week recently, Biden did issue an executive order to explore cryptocurrency. Essentially, Biden's order prohibited anyone to right-click and save as NFTs. So if you right-click and save NFTs, you'll go to jail. You go straight to jail. But more interestingly, Senator Pat Toomey, who is a top member of the Senate Banking Committee has said China's digital yuan, Chinese digital yuan, could open a door for the U.S. to get more heavily into the crypto space. What? Yeah. In a letter to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Secretary of State Antony Blinken on February 4th, Toomey said analysts have raised the ECNY, that's the acronym for the digital yuan, ECNY, the ECNY's potential to subvert U.S. sanctions, could facilitate illicit money flows, enhance China's surveillance capabilities, and provide Beijing with first mover advantages, such as setting standards on cross-border digital payments. Now, this is being rolled out. This is the central bank digital currency that China is now starting to use. People in China are used to Alipay and the other system, WeChat Pay. So they're in China. They have physical money, but they're very used to these digital. They're used to paying with digital money. But that's why China banned Bitcoin, is because they can't control it, but they can control their own central bank digital currency. Now, it's possible that the United States could could roll out their own central bank digital currency, which would be bad. That would be bad because China's already doing it, and it's a control mechanism. So that defeats the purpose of cryptocurrency. Okay, but all right, I'm going a little bit long, but I have to cover this today. I want to talk about the monetary system of Bretton Woods, revised for the new parallel crypto economy. So Bretton Woods, the monetary system of Bretton Woods, is a blueprint for the post-World War II international monetary system. It was drafted in July 1944 at Bretton Woods. This is in New Hampshire, with the founding of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the World Bank, which is the collective name given to the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, and the International Development Association, IDA. The IMF and the World Bank were supposed to provide loans to war-torn nations. And to create these loans, that's when the IMF invented SDRs. And I want to talk about that in a minute. SDRs are an artificial currency instrument. Okay. And I'll mention more on that in a sec. Okay. I'm writing this down so I don't forget. Now, the United States pegged the value of the dollar to gold at 35 per ounce, right? With member companies pegging their currencies to the dollar. The intention had been for this system to mimic the working of the gold standard without the need to actually have gold in possession. In 1971, the U.S. ran out of money and defaulted on its debts. Okay, please allow me to be redundant so you don't miss this fact. the United States ran out of money. The United States ran out of money. Yeah. Remember, the dollar was pegged to gold, paper money, cash. Cash is the same as IOU. Now, back then, it was redeemable in actual gold. At the time, the US was spending a lot more than it was earning. Like writing checks that it couldn't cash, the US was spending more cash than could be accounted for in gold. So it soon became obvious that the US could not keep its promises. By the way, I highly recommend Ray Dalio's The Changing World Order. The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. Okay, special shout out to Ray Dalio. All right, so people holding dollars rushed to exchange them before the gold ran out because it was only a matter of time. So August 15th, 1971, President Nixon made an announcement on television. The U.S. was breaking its promise to let people exchange their dollars for gold. As usual with politics, he used less direct language to misdirect attention, using words like strength of a nation and the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Nixon declared his action would defend the dollar by suspending temporarily the converting of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets. Money, as America understood it, was ending. Okay, but not for the first time. Okay, stay with me here. Happened before that. The same situation happened in 1933. In both instances of currency devaluation, the stock market was bullish. President Roosevelt made a similar confusing announcement, dropping the gold standard. In both cases, this allowed the U.S. to continue spending more than it earned. As more money was printed, more assets were bought, and prices of stocks, gold, and commodities continued to rise. And throughout history, when central banks print a lot of money, fiat currency, increasing the money supply through quantitative easing, inflation gets worse. It happened during the housing crisis of 2018 and again during the pandemic of 2020. It will happen again after this Russia-Ukraine conflict. It will happen again. I guess that's kind of a prediction, but it's pretty likely. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up with this. Oh, here's what you can do. I don't want to talk about problems without giving a solution. All right, I'll leave you with this. The Fed has to raise interest rates. They have to. They're going to. But as we experienced in the 1970s, it will probably cause a recession. Now, that's bullish for crypto. Okay, right now, as the US dollar is strong, cryptocurrencies are not, just broadly speaking. But that could change. So here's the thing. There's no way for the government to stop devaluation of US dollars. Fiat currency by nature is inflationary. Inflation is at a 40-year high. There's no way to have fiat currency in your bank and get ahead of inflation. Instead, turn your cash into assets. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm just making observations. Okay, right now, investor money is moving away from tech, stocks, and crypto into commodities. Why? Because commodities are going up in price, scarcity, supply and demand. There's less supply now with this war, this Russian-Ukraine war. and commodities futures are going up. Palladium is up like 25%, for example. So anyway, you must own assets that cash flow and that you can borrow against. Investors win and savers lose. Get out of dollars. Get into Bitcoin. Now, I do have a couple of just if you want, they have a couple of links to Cash App is easy, a great thing, and also Strike is pretty awesome. They're an easy way to buy Bitcoin. I have a link in the description if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, and it's a promo. So I'll get $5 and you'll get $5, and that's with Cash App. And I'll get $10 and you'll get $10 with Strike. Turn it into Bitcoin. Not financial advice. Do your own research. But then I recommend getting it off the exchanges. Now, so that's what I recommend. I'll leave you with that. I appreciate you guys. Smash that subscribe button. Pummel that subscribe button into submission. I have spoken.